Get up that. Thank you.
I'm gonna call the meeting to order. And we're gonna have, in the city of Waterbury, David LaFleur lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Rick?
From the city of Ansonia online, we have Naugatuck+Valley.
Present.
Thank you, sir. From the town of Beacon Falls, we have Michael, Oneski.
Present.
Thank you, sir. From the city of Bristol, we have, online Ray Rogozinski. Yeah, he is. He did, okay, you're muted, Ray, but we got you. We have, no one from town of Cheshire today, unfortunately. Andrew did let us know that he has to, act as town manager. From the city of Derby, Mayor DiMartino online.
Here.
Thank you, sir. From the borough of Naugatuck, Mayor Hess.
Here.
On the town of Plymouth, Mayor Gildo.
Joe Sherry, just one.
Here, sorry, here. From the town of Prospect, Mayor Chatfield.
Here.
Yes, sir. From the town of Seymour, we have first select woman Dragonis online.
Here,
Thank you. From the town of Thomaston, first selectman Moan.
Here.
Thank you, sir. From the city of Waterbury, we have, Dave Leeper.
Here.
Thank you. From the town of Wolcott, Mayor Dunn.
Here.
And online, we have from the town of Woodbury, first selectwoman Parkinson.
Barbara?
She's there.
All right, Marco, first.
She's present. We have a quorum present of the NVCOG, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. All right, we will, at this time, on the best day of the year so far, entertain public comment. Is there anyone on Zoom or in the room that would like to address the cause? All right, second call for public comment.
We received no requests, for all.
All right, last call for public comment. All right, with regard to item 3, I will entertain a motion to.
So move Prospect.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I'll also entertain a motion to add to the agenda safe streets for all application in section 8, item 5, when we get to it, but we'll add it to the agenda.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, approval of minutes.
So move.
Motion from Prospect, second from Wolcott. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, going good so far. All right, item 5, financial report, Rick Dunn.
Shut her to a halt. Okay, so Michael is at a wedding in Europe, and is on his vacation, so he's not here. I am standing in for him on the budget. The bottom line is, right now, our net position is just about even. We're anticipating a balanced budget for the year, slight surplus of maybe a few $1,000s. We're budget to actual on our operating budget, the bottom line expense G&A at 62%. We, due to some vacancies and salaries not paid earlier in the year, we're not gonna hit that at 100% this year. But we're at 83% of the budget, 10 months through. We're 77% budget to actual, so we're in a good position on that. Funding cuts, nothing that was anticipated is missing. We've gotten some additional funding approved recently, and some contracts from the federal government have come through. The Protect Grant came through, the Raise Grant came through. So we didn't count on those anyway. And then Michael is especially proud of his interest income by changing the ION banks. it's way over target. And then professional services, legal services is the same for every month since Kenny Tom's been happening, all the funds are being paid from, project funds. And happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions?
Rick, just one briefly, when we don't utilize full G&A expenses, does that affect our subsequent years?
Yeah, so, our indirect cost rate and our reimbursement from federal agencies and most state agencies is predicated on how much we spend, and how much of our salary is included. We're actually projecting a higher rate for next year, but as happened in the current year or the past year, we had to pay back $35,000 because it's an estimate of what. So yeah, it could run it down, but it's 62% of what we projected. It's still an increase over what we spent prior year.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Any further questions? You want a motion to approve the report?
That would be great.
So moved. Then.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, Director's Report. Rick.
Okay, so these are, first items are recommendations from the, executive committee. We can do this in any way that you want on the budget adoption, but the recommendation from the executive committee was to adopt the budget as is presented and in your package today. I'm happy to take questions.
So moved.
Second.
All right,
No referendum required.
all right, we have a motion and a second. Now, everyone on the executive board went through this at length. But I will give anyone an opportunity to ask anything. I would say that the team did a great job. There was far less drama this year than usual. And we'll entertain questions.
If anyone had. You have a question?
Nope.
Okay. If anyone wanted just to talk about the org chart, because it's one motion to adopt both. The organizational chart was also discussed. We are filling some vacancies we've been carrying, and we're expanding some staff based upon something new. Each of you should have a copy of the org chart with my hand notes on it at the table. I apologize to those of you on the screen. It's just not really easy to read. But the long and short of it is, some of the money is tied up in the housing bill. If that money doesn't materialize, we just won't be filling those positions. But we're creating positions on the org chart right now. So.
All right, questions are on the budget or the organizational chart? Okay, all those in favor of approving fiscal year 26 budget and organizational chart?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Right, item 2, lease agreement update.
So, we don't have an update yet. The city of Waterbury is working through their process. I believe Board of Aldermen is taking out Monday, this week. So we'll know more after this Monday. We'll continue to work over the summer. Since we don't anticipate a COG meeting until September. Hopefully we'll have negotiated all those items, and moving forward, we'll keep you updated over this.
Okay,
Mr.
any
Chairman, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, this is Barbara Perkinson from Woodbury. I just want to let you know that I am present for this meeting. I apologize for not meeting the roll call. I had something come up that I really had to take care of.
Well, we marked you present, Barbara, so you've been here from the moment we played.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay,
He's not here. Here you are.
all right, legislative wrap up, Rick and Drew.
So we won't spend a whole lot of time on this. There are a couple of highlight, just 2 or 3 bills we want to mention for you. Obviously, the big one is 2549, House Bill 502, the housing bill. You know, I realize there's strong feelings on both sides of this. Honestly, I would hope that the governor would sign it all special session and fix it. There are 3 things really that are problems for the municipalities. and are relatively easy fixes. But we're hopeful that goes through. But other than that, Drew, you wanna take the other bills?
Sure, just quickly, Public Act 25-6 is the sunsetting of the Transfer Act, which will move to a release-based cleanup program. If you have any questions about that moving forward, of course, we have Ricardo and Inez on our Brownfields team who will spearhead those efforts if you have any questions. Public Act 2580, which will allow you to adopt an ordinance prohibiting street takeovers, also lays out some potential penalties and fines, including but not limited to the taking and destruction of vehicles. So we highly encourage everybody to adopt those. I think everybody in the state has seen how prevalent those have become. So beyond that, PA Public Act 25-33, formerly known as Senate Bill 9. We noticed a provision just the last couple of weeks here that sections 18 and 19 that deals with the transfer of development rights. And essentially what it does is it allows, and there's also a regional component to that. So it would allow you to have a developer who had the rights to develop, say, a rural parcel in your town, or a large rural parcel, and then a trade of the rights to develop that parcel for something maybe more appropriate, especially in like a transit district. So we're gonna do some more research on that and get back to you on that, but it sounds like it's also going to allow for, let's say, a parcel in Middlebury to be traded for a parcel in Waterbury. And we have to work out how that looks in terms of an intermunicipal agreement and everything, but that can be a major tool for developers to utilize. We want to make sure that it's utilized responsibly, and we'll get to what's.
Yeah, Drew,
Rick.
so we've already asked OPM for some guidance on this. They haven't been able to give us any guidance, but the COGs are called out in the bill as the facilitators of any intermunicipal transfer development rights. So we don't know how it's gonna work. I don't think they know how it's going to work. It'll be a while before they have guidance on it. You don't have any.
I'm gonna talk about it later
Oh.
during our
Good.
community planning update.
And then on the Condot bill, Rich Donovan, Rich is not with us in the room today, and he has to be remote. But Rich, did you want to talk about the Condot bill items?
Yeah, there's a number of provisions that are relevant, and we'll put together a more detailed summary. The one I wanted to highlight, though, was the kind of the long-awaited fix to the department's ability to do rights of way on behalf of towns and cities. We had run into this issue where there was some question about whether or not the department could do rights of way for trail projects, and especially related to the funding source. That has all been addressed as part of 2565, and so going forward, the DOT will be able to do rights of way acquisitions for any projects funded by any funding source within your towns.
Great, thank you, Richard. Well, is there any questions on any of the legislative stuff? As Bruce said, he'll be getting out something that's more specific, and as we're able to dig deeper into some of the bills, and get guidance from OPM. And
Can I simply ask, Ricardo, regarding 25-6, is that a major improvement upon, for Brownfields?
Absolutely.
How so, sir?
So for this one, now, when developers are purchasing a property, they only have to focus on certain areas of the parcel instead of cleaning out the whole entire parcel. There's still some more regulations that need to be followed, making sure that the contamination doesn't go off site, but it's like, it's area specific instead of parcel specific.
And that's good. Anything that improves the Brownfields
Yeah.
reclamations is a positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for that explanation.
All right, any further questions?
Yeah, 2580.
If I may, just through the chair, City of Bristol, if I can just ask for if NVCOG staff can just provide a brief, overview of their legislative report that we can distribute to other staff within the City of Bristol.
Sure, Mr. Chairman. We are waiting on the Office of Legislative Research to release their report on acts that affect municipalities. In your packet, you have a public act summary in general, but there's going to be one specific to municipalities probably within the next couple of weeks. I'll make sure everybody here gets that, and I'll also send that to TTAC, Ray.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Again, related to this, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
2580, that's specific to street takeovers. Beacon Falls, we had an issue where we had a group that came in 2 weekends in a row to a local business in our industrial park and made a mess out of their parking on site. This bill does nothing to help individual businesses who may or may not get taken over.
Because it only applies to public space.
That's just public, place. I just want to clear. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any further questions? Let's just note that you don't just have to ask a question here, staff is always available, so feel free to call anytime. All right.
I called at 6 this morning, nobody answered the phone.
Let's go to item 4. RSG notice of grant award.
Yeah, so, this is our, regular grant, the only flexible grant that we have, state funding. It's the majority of the money we receive from the state on an annual basis. SN and, will help them through and put together the work plan that needs to be submitted. The work plan, it has to be submitted by June 30th. Some of that had to wait for the session to end and us to understand everything about it. But what we ask, as all the COGs do, is ask you to adopt the resolution allowing us to submit that work plan.
Okay. We have a motion.
Move.
All right, any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. All right, Rick?
Yeah, just before I end my report, I just wanted to recognize for all of you and introduce, some staff and some people who are with us, for the summer. I'm gonna start with Ashlyn Parinello. Ashlyn, you wanna say hi? Ashlyn is our Sustainable CT Fellow. This year, she's from Cheshire. She's a rising junior at Wesleyan, and she's studying psychology and environmental studies. Well, thank you, Ashlyn.
Psychology coming in here.
Next, our community planning intern, this year, Rachel Leone is back with us. Rachel, she's a sophomore at BU and is studying environmental policy, and she's from Woken. So, and then, I'm not sure that I've introduced Matthew before, but, Matthew, he's a community planner here at the agency now. He's got his BA in urban and community studies. Matthew's been with us a little while. He started as an intern, now here as a planner. And I also want to just take a minute to recognize, Christine, O'Neill, who's now been certified AICP by the American Planning Association, American Institute of Certified Planners. We're very proud of her. Congratulations. Christine is from New York.
Yeah, I know.
But she lives in Woken.
Transplant sustains. That's our motto, transplanted here.
Sorry.
Well, congratulations, Christine, welcome to our interns
And I think he wasn't here his first month at the meeting, so I want to introduce to you today, Dimitri Coles. Dimitri is, can you stand? No, he twisted his ankle, he's on crutches the other day. But Dimitri's a community planner, specializing in housing, for us. He's from Waterbury, he's got his BA in political science and master's in geography and his MPA, and has worked in the community for a long time. We're happy to have you. You're welcome. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I conclude my.
Sorry, Rick,
report.
Anthony.
Oh,
I missed
someone
one.
gave me an Anthony card.
Sorry.
It didn't, Anthony, I forgot you twice. Anthony Lagana, from Thomaston? Sulington, but working in Thomaston.
I was in Thomaston for a little while, as a land use intern. Yeah, I have.
Well, we won't hold Sulington against.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Anthony.
I might.
Joint Transportation Planner, nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Anthony, and I apologize for that.
all right. You're now done?
I'm done, I hope so, I hope I didn't forget anyone.
Okay. Let's go to community planning, Savannah McCall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board. So today we're going to provide you with an update regarding the Naugatuck+Valley Council of Governments Regional Plan of Conservation and Development Stakeholder Engagement. We are done with phase 1 of the plan and we're heading into phase 2. No action is required of you, and the executive summaries for each engagement for the interviews and the surveys were in your packet. We'll start with an interview update and then we'll do a survey update. And I just want to highlight that NVCOG's community planner, Molly Johnson, was the staff member who conducted 37 interviews. She went to 9 chief elected officials, 5 land use staff, 4 finance staff or board members, 3 town engineers, 2 police chiefs or commissioners, and then a variety of other staff, boards, and commission members. We had 14 municipalities participate, and we thank you for those who did. For those who did not, we'd really still like to see you at the table. We're heading into the meat and potatoes of the planning process, and you really do want to be sure that your municipalities are represented in what we're drafting. So we thank you and your staff for participating in the interview process, and we'll go to the next slide. So our staff established 9 categories, which you can see on the right side of the screen, and 59 subcategories to categorize interview responses into. We established the categories and subcategories prior to the interviews so we could ensure all interviews were coded in a similar manner. After the interviews, Molly transcribed the notes from those discussions, and then Molly and Matt, who you just met, reviewed the interview notes for the presence of a certain subcategory. So just to provide an example of what this looks like, if an interviewee discussed bike paths, walking trails, sidewalks, pedestrian safety, walkability, bikeability, or the Naugatuck River Greenway Trail, we considered that to be part of active transportation, which is in the broader category of transportation. And then we also weighted the responses to ensure fair representation amongst our member municipalities. This was done by determining the top subcategories and assigning a numerical score based on the top categories discussed. Next slide, please. So we're briefly going to discuss some of the key takeaways with you. These subcategories were the most discussed topics throughout the interviews for the total process. And as you can see from the top 3, they're centered around regional collaboration and the resources necessary to achieve your desired outcomes. I'll note when you look at the executive summary, Appendix B tells you what are those themes that we identified for these broader subcategories. Next slide, please. We then asked interviewees to speak to how our organization can support your member municipality in achieving your goals. You can see those top 3 subcategories again: regional technical assistance, intermunicipal collaboration, and funding and resource allocation as those top, which highlight the importance of collaboration amongst you all as member municipalities and then us as one of your regional partners. Next slide, please. We then asked what was the most recent effort that NVCOG has completed in your municipality that's had a positive effort. In this, we saw our transportation team shine with their work in transportation grants and active transportation. Moreover, we saw the work of our other divisions come through in that regional technical assistance, which includes our grant writing, our municipal TA, and the like. Next slide, please. We then asked about what challenges that your municipality faces in collecting at the regional scale. And so while you identified regional collaboration as a priority, you also see it as something that can be challenging. And so whether it be because of regulatory and policy barriers, some we saw removed during this recent legislative session, we're really going to be looking in the regional plan how we can make it easier for you to collaborate amongst yourselves and with us as an organization. So then we also asked you questions about how you understand our work, how you collaborate internally as a municipality and then amongst one another, and then how you see your role in the Naugatuck-Valley planning region. And we gained a lot of useful information there that I won't get into today, but I encourage you to look at the executive summary for more detailed information. We also asked you questions about municipal successes. So we asked you how you felt regionally and then how you felt as individuals. I would really encourage you to check out the executive summary. There's a lot of really great information in there. But what are we going to be doing with this? We'll use the information from the interviews and the surveys to inform the main sections of the Regional Plan of Conservation and Development. So we have draft section themes that we're going to be discussing with the steering committee next Tuesday, and we'll introduce to you all at the next board meeting. That's really going to be what we focus on in the plan, where we set the policies, where we set the strategies, where we really guide, where we hope to see this region be in the next 10 years. I can take any questions now or after the meeting. If not, I'll hand it off to Matt to discuss the survey results.
All right, any questions for Savannah? All right, you can hand it off.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and board members. It's a pleasure to meet you all. Today I have a brief update for you regarding the Regional Plan of Conservation and Development. No action is needed for this agenda item. So the Regional Planning Steering Committee sent out a stakeholder survey to you, your staff, and commissioners to gain insight and their perspectives on planning priorities across the region. The survey was conducted between March 14th and April 4th, 2025, and had a 33% response rate. The survey received 57 responses with participation from 15 municipalities. The group of respondents was composed of 26 municipal staff members, 15 municipal staff 26 municipal staff members, 15 municipal board or commission chairs, 6 municipal chief elected or executive officials, and 10 other stakeholders with municipal positions in their respective towns. We would like to thank you, your staff, and your commissioners for completing the survey. Go to the next slide. In the survey, respondents referenced the strengths of NVCOG and the region's successes. Most respondents had positive perceptions of the NVCOG across all questions. They believe that residents have adequate access to open space and recreational amenities, and they support the continuation of brownfield projects and the Naugatuck River Greenway Trail. They believe their municipalities have an adequate variety of land use, well-maintained infrastructure, and agree that the quality of life, quality of the environment, and economic opportunities have all improved over the last 10 years. 74% of respondents are satisfied with the NVCOG's engagement with their municipality. Respondents also pointed to the challenges within the region that need attention or improvements. Respondents identified affordable housing, tax increases, and the cost of living as the most important issues for the region over the next 10 years. The majority of respondents believe there is not enough housing to meet current or future housing needs within the region. They recognize traffic speed as the most common transportation problem within their municipalities, and they reported that their bicycle facilities were of poor quality. 95% of respondents identified the municipal budget as a barrier to improving and maintaining municipal infrastructure. Respondents also provided insight on the region's future. Respondents identified regionalization opportunities, brownfield redevelopment, and Waterbury rail line improvements as important opportunities for the region over the next 10 years. They're also interested in assistance with zoning, permitting, staffing, and funding to address municipal land use problems. Most respondents agreed the Naugatuck+Valley Regional Plan of Conservation and Development should focus on creating a variety of job opportunities for the region's residents, and that investment in workforce housing is needed to support new business growth in the region. They believe that additional housing should be built in areas where infrastructure already exists, and diversity of housing should be catered to the municipality's needs. Respondents support the construction of multi-use trails, sidewalks, green infrastructure, and the expansion of entertainment options in the form of outdoor recreation, arts and cultures, and dining. The majority of respondents believe that redevelopment of brownfields could lead to improvements within their municipality, and that potential economic benefits should be the #1 priority when selecting sites. They would like to see residential, commercial, and recreational developments, and believe the public should be involved during the planning of projects. The findings from the stakeholder survey provide the Naugatuck+Valley Council of Government staff with a framework for what the region has been doing right, where they can improve, and how they can approach the problems. The findings from the survey will be used to inform the regional plan of conservation and development. The full summary can be found on the website for anyone who needs it. I can take any questions at this time.
Questions?
Thank
Okay, Deanna, what's next?
We are talking about the community planning newsletter. So our spring newsletter went out this May. We thank the communications and community engagement team for their assistance. I just want to highlight one thing in this edition that Drew was discussing earlier. You can learn more about purchase and transfer of development rights between the community planning division and the environmental planning division. We made really useful visualizations of the difference between a purchase and a transfer of development rights. That's in the newsletter. And we'll be keeping a close eye on that because it is a really useful tool. We'll note that in Watertown, there actually is already a successful case study of purchase of development rights. And so if that's a tool that you'd like to utilize, we do have municipalities in our region that are already successfully using a process that's now been codified. You can also find Matt's interview discussing his spring internship with the Naugatuck+Valley Council of Governments. And then you can get updates about the CAMA work, the regional plan, and referrals, which I will pass it to Emily to discuss the referral updates with you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, and good morning to the board. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to the rest of the board. I will be providing an update on the quarterly referral report as well as the annual 2024 referral report for the years. So municipalities and CT are mandated to refer specific proposals to amend zoning maps, regulations, subdivision plans, and plans of conservation and development to their respective regional council of governments for advisory review. Community planning staff create timely referral reports to summarize referral reports sent to NVCOG for review. So a referral report coming from April 1st to May 31st, 2025 was sent to you and your land use staff. We asked your staff to share a report with your land use commissions and boards for their reference. Please report to the June and July referral report in August. I would be happy to answer any questions on this period's referral report. If there are any.
Questions?
And so community planning has also created the 2024 referral report for the year. This is also included in your packets. This report looked at referrals sent to NVCOG during the 2024 calendar year. We've included some key statistics in the report to summarize major trends and takeaways that may be of interest to our municipalities. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them as well.
Questions? Thank you. All right. Yeah. Okay, gonna move to transportation planning. Is Rich online?
Rich is, but I'm doing, item 1.
You're doing item 1. All right, proceed.
So, item 1, is for our FPA capital program that operates in the Bridgeport Stanford organized area in the lower part of the region. As all of you know, I think we're the recipient of the capital funds for transit systems in that area. So, each year we have to adopt what are called certifications and assurances. The process is I generate a letter, which is in your packet, to our attorney, asking for him to render an opinion. Part of his ability to render the opinion is your adoption of the certifications and assurances. You'll see in there the checklist. It just says that we're in compliance with, we participate in and are in compliance with specific federal transit programs. So I'm happy to answer any questions that any of you may have about this, but the question is to adopt the resolution to your certification.
And we are in compliance.
We are in compliance, and this is where most money comes through. We're buying new buses for Valley Transit District this year. We get about $400,000 of operating capital for both organizations, primarily for Valley. We pass a lot of it through Valley Transit. We did ask, I'll just fill you in, we did ask in our plan this year for Conduct to allow us to do a study on the consolidation of the Greater Waterbury Transit District, which we administer from here, and the Valley Transit District, which has an independent board. But we were discouraged from proceeding with that on the federal side, and the state had indicated to us that they are currently scoping and will be doing a statewide bus transit study and looking at all the transit districts. So that's not in our scope for the upcoming year. It's not directly related to adoption of certs and assurances. I just want to take that. I need to let you know. Well,
Thank you. Can we, let's have a motion on 2025-18.
you got a motion moved. Second.
All right, any discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 2, lots of cost change. Evan?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. So we have lots of cost changes for the Waterbury West Main Street Traffic Signals Project. This is a project that's in coordination with the RAISE grant that the city has gotten for the entire West Main Street corridor, but this will be replacing 2 signals along that stretch. So the current construction cost is around 2.2 million, which is an increase from 1.8. So the increase is due to a couple of things. First of all, the RAISE project has progressed in their design process, so this project has a better idea of what is being included in the RAISE project and what is being included in the Watson project. So all those changes in RAISE are now being reflected into the Watson project. And Lastly, the inflation has been affecting all construction projects for the past couple of years, and this one is no exception. So with that, I'll take any questions about this project. And there's a motion on your screen to adopt a resolution. This has been endorsed by TTAC at our last meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Just one question, has the build grant been approved? What was the section?
The raise grant.
Raise grant, was that approved?
Yes.
Yes, this is the one, this was the city got this, what, like 2 years ago?
2023, the 23 funding round.
Okay. You wanna add anything, Dave?
So we're trying to do the underground now, which we have to get ahead of that. So that's gotta be done by 2029. And it's like similar to by the palace, did all that over there, but we had, why spend 20 million if you're not doing the underground? So that's the same thing over here. So we're up against it on that end, on our side too.
I would note your neighbor to the south has a lot of experience in that.
Yeah, so, it was great, we got the money from the Fed, but if you don't do the underground, it's so the timeline, it's gonna be tough, but yeah.
Very logical, but
Yeah,
some people don't understand. Okay. We have a motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. POD update, Nicole.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board. I'm Nicole Sullivan. I wanted to briefly update you all on the transit-oriented development efforts taking place in the region. As of this time, 5 of the 7 municipalities along the Waterbury branch line have opted in to joining the Connecticut Municipal Development Authority, formerly known as MRDA, now known as CMDA, with more municipalities able to join region-wide. Opting into CMDA includes a resolution passed by the municipality's legislative body at a public hearing, and moving forward with CMDA is solely in the municipality's discretion and is still allows for local control. I'm here at NVCOG to manage the ongoing process between the municipalities and CMDA, and as NVCOG continues to grow its TOD in the region. Wherever you are in the process, NVCOG would like to be partners with you in exploring this opportunity, and my contact information is on the screen above, so please feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's you, Savannah, whatever, but, and I know it's early and you're still looking into it, but what about, did I hear there's a connection between TOD and the transferability of development rights? Or is there?
In SB 9, I'm sorry, Rick, not taking it.
No, go ahead.
In SB 9, they are prioritizing some of that movement. But again, Rick asked that specifically of OPM this past week, and they didn't really have a lot of answers as to
Right.
how that prioritization was gonna take
I
place.
would just note for the record that Naugatuck would be interested in that.
Absolutely.
I mean, the concept's a sound one, if you have a developer who's gonna build on green space in your town and you have, reclaimed brownfields or anything else in your urban area close to your transit, a swap, a transfer of development rights is logical in many cases.
So-
in our region.
How far along is that as far as guidelines, policies? I mean, is that pretty well developed?
So transfer of development rights and purchase of development rights, we believe were always allowed in Connecticut, but were not codified. And so what the legislature did in this session was codify the ability for communities to do it more comfortably, being able to cite to a specific section in the statute. Should a community want to move ahead outside of OPM's slow process, I think that we have enough expertise in our staff to be able to provide guidance about how to move forward on a transfer or purchase of development right process. But the state does have a purchase of, not transfer, but a purchase of development rights program that already exists through DEEP.
Great, thank you. Any further questions for Nicole? All right, we'll go to item 4, DBE update.
Yeah, thank you. As you all know, Desiree Blanchard, who is away today, runs our Disadvantaged Business Enterprise program here at the COG. as part of being a direct FTA recipient and more recently as being a direct FHWA recipient, we are required to develop and maintain a DBE goal across the agency as well as a DBE program. And so this update is based on some changes that were made in the regulations back in the end of 2024. The updated plan, as well as a memo with details about it, are in the meeting agenda packet. And so I'm happy to take any questions, and that we would request that you authorize Rick to sign the new program update and submit to FTA.
Okay, questions for Rich?
And just as a note, before I forget to mention, we do have a public meeting scheduled about this coming up next week. Desiree has also been conducting stakeholders with interviews and with state authorized DBEs over the last several weeks.
All right, can we have a motion?
Motion to authorize Rick to sign and submit.
Second. All right, any questions or discussion?
The only, this is Ray Rogosinski from the city of Bristol. My only comment, and to a certain extent, it could even be a little off topic, but the CRO compliance with local contractors is a big issue. If potentially NVCOG in the future can provide, like a seminar to some of our local contractors, because they really struggle meeting CHRO for construction projects.
So just note that great bringing it up at the meeting, but feel free to call staff, ask questions and get detailed answers 24/7, right?
Yeah, if I can, Mr. Chairman, and Ray, what I would offer is that, probably we would do something like that through the TTAC. So, I'll ask Rich, and Desiree to talk about, how to get, some sort of instructional program together, for you through the TTAC would be the appropriate venue, I think.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay, you have to vote on it?
you. Yeah, the motion second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Environmental planning. Round.
I'm sorry, we'll just jump back, if you don't mind, to the item 5 that we added at the beginning of the agenda.
Yeah,
What do
we added at the beginning.
Oh, right,
Item 5.
right. Let's show the added item 5.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, so as you all know, the Safe Streets and Roads for All program has been a significant new program released under IJA, authorized for 5 funding years, starting in 2022, going through 2026. So far, we've won planning grants as a region, and this will bring forward the opportunity to apply for an implementation grant. We've been working closely with the city of Waterbury on an implementation grant looking at the Thomason Avenue roadway safety audit, which there are copies of on the table in the room, as well as on our website. And Rich, if you can go to the next slide, thank you. And so the city has asked us to submit an implementation grant looking at certain portions of the recommendations in the southern end of the corridor. So roughly the area of the Department of Labor offices down through the West Main Street intersection, at which point this project would align with the improvements being made under the RAISE grant. These improvements are relatively simple. We'd be looking at some of the best practices around access management, reducing the total number of curb cuts and their length where they're present, adding in new sidewalks, adding in street side amenities, including improved landscaping and street trees, as well as a bit of narrowing of the total roadway width. And as you can see in this image on the left side of the screen, a bit of a chicane to help slow traffic as it travels through this area. And so if you'll go one more, we know we have a very tight timeline for this. Applications are due on Thursday of next week, but we do have a good amount of the planning work done already through this roadway safety audit. And so we are asking for all of you to adopt resolution 2522, which would give us the authority to submit the application for the project and authorize Rick to sign any agreements necessary for the application or the potential award of this project. Upon award, if it were to be awarded, the city of Waterbury has committed to making the full non-federal match of just above $1 million for a total project cost of $5.133 million.
No, the motion is framed is to submit, not to give you authority to sign. Do we want to add that?
I don't know,
It's in the
Great.
resolution itself. It's just the way it's written on the screen. Yeah, the resolution that is on the table in front of all of you includes three elements, which is the submission of the application and authorizing Rick to sign any elements associated with it. It also, as a third element, offers the board support for the implementation of the project.
Okay. We have a second question.
Is there anything in the future for up from that area with all the terrible accidents that have been over the last 20 or 30 or 40 years with all the fatalities and everything been going on up there?
Which area? I'm sorry.
Farther,
The rest of Thompson
the
Avenue.
rest of
Oh, yes.
Thompson Avenue, all the terrible accidents.
It goes all the way up to
50s
Huntington.
and 60s.
They're talking about putting a roundabout and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we're hoping that by implementing this piece on the southern portion, which is we've selected because of it's relatively simpler to implement and would be lower cost, it would fit within what funding we could make available. We are hoping to do this in coordination with the New Mix project team as they work on early implementation items in the city to help mitigate some of the problems that the Route 8 and Interstate 84 interchange construction project may create, for them to actually do the implementation on the north end of our concept. And so I heard somebody mention there is a turbo roundabout proposed for the intersection of Thomaston, Huntington, and Homer Streets, as well as similar sidewalk, transit, and street furniture amenity improvements up at the north end of the corridor.
If I may, just through the chair, I assume as a procedural matter, since NVCOG, the planning grant went through NVCOG, all even future implementations. So this is really a model for anything that gets implemented out of your regional plan, where the municipality would participate, but the region would sign the grant.
Yeah, so either way is viable. As the MPO, we are allowed to submit and to build these projects, and so we're always able to do this, to manage these projects with the participation of the city on the financial side. But having the regional plan in place does allow for each municipality to separately submit for their own construction projects.
Because we couldn't go for an implementation grant unless there is a planning grant, but you're saying that municipalities could go individually.
So we applied 2 years on our own, unsuccessful. It's a very competitive grant, but if you read this one, 12 fatalities in the last 4 years, and I was actually on 2 of them. I was there before the first responders at one of them, but every year if you go back 25 years, every year there's fatalities over there. So, but we applied twice, and not for this specific one, but this one I think it's a great one.
Yeah, and so any project that's identified currently in the Regional Transportation Safety Plan that was last updated in 22 and is currently being updated using planning grants from Safe Streets, using planning funds from Safe Streets, is eligible for implementation by either the COG or the individual municipality.
I would just note, Mr. Chairman, just to credit Rich, he won't take credit. We're the only MPO that actually goes out with staff and conducts these roadway safety audits for your towns. State hasn't quite figured out what to do with us handing them these audits and being able to implement programs, but we're getting there with them.
So the city is fully committed for the funds, but we're gonna go see them too, see if they can put that million in, because
Everybody wants to change.
yeah, or something like that.
Non-federal.
Yeah. I think we got a good argument.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. You still need to vote.
You.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We will now proceed with Brownfield. Ricardo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hello and good morning, everyone. So NVCOG was recently awarded $2.9 million from DECD for the complete remediation of 125 Canal Street. This project started about a year and a half ago through NVCOG, our left side. What did I say? I'm sorry.
No, we always just say street names, but.
I'm sorry. Shelton, in the city of Shelton. So this project started about a year and a half ago through RLF funding. 113 Canal Street is at a place right now where they could remove the contaminated soil. Since a lot of the procurement has already been done, what staff is working on right now is reformatting the procurement documentation so it fits DECD's guidelines, and that way we could use some of those same contractors to remove the soils of 125 Canal Street, Sean. When we submitted the application, we listed both sites as one project, so we are confident that we should be able to eliminate a lot of the wasted time in the future. So speaking of DEC funding, their next funding round should open up late summer. If you have any good projects that you are considering requesting some assessment or cleanup funding for, please let us know ASAP so we could start the process of getting all those required documentations for you. So as a friendly reminder, assessment funding through DCD is a max of $200,000, and cleanup funding was $4 million. They recently increased it to $6 million. So that should be able to help out those projects that require a little bit more attention, a little bit more funding. In recently as well, EPA recently awarded NVCOG with $2 million of supplemental RLF funding. This funding will become available as of October 1st of this year. So right now, we anticipate having somewhere close to $1.2 million in sub-grants available with a max of $500,000 per site. And we have somewhere close to $2 to $3 million in loans. So if you guys have any projects that need some support, if you have any developers that are in need of loans, please reach out. Just a quick heads up, loans are 0% for 24 months. So let us know. So all current projects are moving forward with it. Cleanup projects are moving forward with no problems right now. NVCOG is currently assisting the city of Derby. That's why we attached this picture up there at 2 Factory Street. We're reviewing a remediation action plan for this site. If there's no issues with the plan, we anticipate having a contractor finalize it and share it with the municipality so they can move forward with their redevelopment goals about this project. Next slide. Just also want to share that. Next slide. Thank you. Also wanted to share that outside of 2 Factory Street, we also assisted at 90 Main Street, which is the top portion of the property, as well as everything south of Derby, Main Street South. We're also assisting in creating and drafting a request for proposals for LEPs at O'Sullivan's Island. So we're doing a couple things there as well. Outside of that, if you guys have any questions related to brownfields, our emails are always open. Thank you.
Good news.
Thank you, sir.
All right, any questions for Ricardo?
I'll just note that the RLF meeting that we canceled this week will be rescheduled sometime in the relatively near future. And we're gonna talk about resetting the long-term interest rate for loans that term out. To take a look at that, given the current market.
Okay, Rick, thank you. All right, let's go to Aaron, Kinneytown Dam.
So, thank you, Mr. Chairman. A lot going on at Kinneytown the past month. Data collection is underway. Our contractors completed their aerial survey with helicopters and fixed wing aircraft. And now they're starting on the ground truthing of that data. And that's really for the whole corridor from basically downtown Seymour all the way south to the confluence with the Housatonic. EPA is working on getting out in the field later this summer. So they just submitted a QEP for their phase 2 assessment work. And we expect them to be out in the field probably in August to do that additional testing of the sediment. Right now, geotechnical investigation is underway in the canal between Kinneytown Dam and Coe Pond. There's a barge right now. They're doing borings underneath the canal to see basically if we can relocate the sewer line into the canal, during or after the dam removal. The big thing to announce really is that, we did receive $25 million in the state bond package. And that funding will do several things. One, it'll allow us to move ahead with the sewer project. It's gonna provide the non-federal match for the congressionally directed spending funds that we've received and are looking to receive more of. And it's also gonna give the Connecticut Brownfield Land Bank a level of comfort that they need to acquire the property. So we are moving forward now, full steam with the property acquisition. I'll also announce that, thanks to Ricardo, who seems to have the Midas touch with these sort of things, we received another $4 million from DECD Brownfields program. It's a conditional award right now, but we're putting together the paperwork that they need to see to award it fully. And that's to assist with the sediment management and remediation work that needs to be done.
Stop there for a second. 4 million is great. The 6 is
Oh,
too late to ask for it.
it's in the works.
What?
It's in the works.
Okay. Good thinking.
Good answer.
We requested a little over $10 million in 2 requests to our congressional delegation. And those are moving forward, we learned this week. So a lot of good news on Kinneytown, and happy to answer any questions.
Great work.
Thank you.
Very happy.
Just congratulations to everybody who worked on this. I made it to see this day coming. And I kidded with everybody before. The Air Force has got some bomb you can drop from a plane. I'm like, there.
Would cause some downstream.
Yeah, they would.
Definitely cheap.
I have one question for Aaron, if I may, Mr. Chairman. What's the status on the, when you think we'll be out to bid for the sanitary sewer work?
We're supposed to have the design done by the end of the year, so it'll probably be early next year.
All right, great job, man. Christine, waste updates.
One in between, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
You're stuck with me for one more item. The region's hazard mitigation plan that we published in 2021 is nearing the end of its lifespan. They have to be updated every 5 years to retain eligibility for hazard mitigation funding through FEMA. In February, this board authorized staff to submit to apply to hazard mitigation assistance funding through FEMA. We intended to apply for one of the programs that's underneath that umbrella, called the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities Program, or BRIC. All 19 municipalities at that time submitted letters of committing to participating and providing the local match that's required. On the eve of submitting that application, the program was terminated. So we've been working since then with DEMIS to identify other funding sources to be able to do this planning process. So we've been invited to submit an application to a separate FEMA opportunity called the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. And DEMIS confirmed that there are available funds and we are eligible for them. So that program has virtually identical requirements to the BRIC program. It's the same match. The resolution that you all voted on in February will cover us and allow us to submit. But what we will need from all of you is an updated commitment form. So we're finalizing what exactly we need to have in that letter from DEMIS. But we will know soon, and we'll be sending you all a request probably next week. Looking for hopefully a quick turnaround on a new commitment letter so that we can submit.
What's the maximum amount?
So we're asking for $300,000 for a $400,000 project. So there's 25% local match. That comes out to, I think we have $5,263 per municipality. We're breaking that up over 2 fiscal years. So it's basically, the identical commitment that we received in February, but we just need the paperwork updated.
So when you get the request, it'll be clear that we're asking you to replace the commitment you've already made with this one for an identical amount, just for a different program.
Right.
So,
Let me ask this, is hazard mitigation the same as flood mitigation?
Yes, well, so I think it depends on in which context.
Or in the context of the brook from Middlebury that's flooding Naugatuck?
So implementation projects, for flood mitigation would be covered under this program as well. These funds are being made available to the state, through the emergency declarations that were made in the past year. There's been a few of them, and that's what this funding is coming from. It's mitigation funding that's sort of attached to that.
I'd like you to report to the federal government that 300,000 will not handle our $30 million problem.
No.
No,
This
it's
is-
just the planning to make you
Yeah.
eligible to
Yeah.
apply for your $30 million problem.
Well,
That's
okay,
right.
so let me ask then, where, we ask who, the federal government?
Well, assuming FEMA is still there, presumably will be.
Yeah, that's what I mean, that's what, you know, so where is it?
Well, we won't really know until we see this, appropriations for the upcoming year, federal government.
Okay,
And
I get it.
I think that's probably the best answer I can give you right now.
Better is there.
Well, let's hope it's somewhere in some department. But, yeah,
But the good news is, a couple years ago, we took 9 projects from the hazard mitigation plan, bundled it into one, and we used state funding to get some of those advanced. So Craig is working on that now, so it doesn't have to be all federal.
All right,
no action requirements, right?
No action right now.
okay, Christine, you're up.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. So last meeting, we announced that NVCOG was considering a regional grant application to Connecticut Deep's Sustainable Materials Management Program. At the direction of the Waste Committee, we put together a request for $65,000 for a project we're calling the Regional Backyard Composting Initiative. We propose using deep funds to significantly offset the cost of backyard compost bins and accessories in a sale to Naugatuck+Valley residents. The sale would follow the same model we've used for the past few years, where the residents order online and then choose from one of 2 pickup locations in the region. We'll select a vendor through a competitive procurement process, but depending on the exact price of the units they offer, we're looking at about a 70% discount with the grant funds. Our goal is to deploy 1,000 units across the region that would be able to divert up to 250 tons of organics each year. So staff's recommendation is for the board to endorse resolution 2025-19, which would be included in our application to demonstrate your support for the project. We're happy to make the draft narrative available upon request, and I'm also happy to take any questions.
Questions for Christine?
Yeah, are these things, do they attract bears? Does anybody know?
So I have.
That's a big question for me.
No, I totally understand. Yeah, I think there's a couple of things to note there. First of all, remember, you would not be putting anything more than you would on your garbage can outside, right? Just a different place. So if you had food scraps in your garbage can in your curb, this is just a different spot. The bears would be able to smell them either way. I had one in my yard for years and never had any issues. For not for bears, but for rodents, they do sell an extra accessory, a rodent screen, if they're concerned about mice.
I didn't even think about mice now.
Oh, no.
I have one in the woods outside my house, the bear, and I have bears. They've never touched it. But you can't put meat, you're not supposed to put meats and bones and things like that, it's organic vegetables.
Well, I'll need a note from my wife on this.
Permission slip.
We're looking, are we gonna do a resolution?
Just a motion to adopt.
Almost. Second. All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Regional Waste Authority study.
Thank you. We're going to keep the garbage train rolling. So NVCOG and our consultant Tetra Tech have been working closely with all of your communities to investigate the feasibility of forming a regional waste authority to address some of our waste management challenges. The study should be ready for review in July, at which time it will be presented and shared with the Waste Committee for their feedback. We strongly encourage CEOs to carefully review the report and ensure the data is both complete and accurate. The report will include existing conditions for each municipality, a discussion of potential RWA operations, and recommendations for regionalization. Should the board decide to form an RWA, we'll gain access to additional deep dollars to fund the development of bylaws and other startup costs. So we're not asking for any action. This is just a heads up, but I'm happy to take questions.
Questions? Okay, let's go to Mad River Watershed Based Plan update.
Last one for me, and this is going to be very short. NVCOG applied for and received a grant from Connecticut Deep's Clean Water Act, Section 319, Non-Point Source Pollution Program, say that 3 times fast, to develop a watershed-based plan for the Mad River. The watershed spans most of Wolcott and portions of Bristol and Waterbury. We're pleased to share these municipalities have helped us select a consultant, and we're currently working on the contracting process. We'll begin our steering committee meetings next month. So we look forward to better understanding and planning for non-point sources of pollution in this important tributary of the Naugatuck. And no action is requested, but let me know if you have any questions.
All right, any questions for Christine? All right, hearing none, we'll go to municipal affairs, Drew.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just Dennis has asked that we share with all of you that there are 2 grants available through FEMA. Note the very short timeline here. You've got until July 3rd, but the hope is that either you and or your fire departments have already received this information. So just for review, the one grant is the FP&S, or Fire Prevention and Safety Grant. There's over $30 million available for community risk reduction, wildfire risk reduction, code enforcement awareness, origin and cause investigation, and national, state, and regional programs and projects. And then also the SAFER grant, the Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response. Over $300 million is available for hiring, recruitment, and retention of firefighters. On the screen, I've put regional contact from FEMA, Chris Babcock, who can answer any questions. But your fire departments are the eligible entities for this application. I'd be happy to, if you want to direct your fire chiefs to me with some questions, I can send them the full noteful and things like that. Feel free to share my contact information with them. Next slide, please. The Naugatuck Corridor Economic Development District. Just a quick update on those efforts. NVCOG assisted the Shelton Economic Development Corporation with closing out the active 5-year SEDS plan. We filed an annual report, which was reviewed by their existing SEDS committee last week. It was approved. And then on a going forward basis, we are starting a new process with this SEDS. This is kind of an important update. If you go to the next slide, please, Rich. So what I'm going to need from each member of the board is a staff appointment to the Strategic Advisory Board for the SEDS. That can be yourself. It likely would be an economic development director in your town if you have one. But there, aside from the municipal representation, we also have some private sector and other partner representation, which you see listed on the right-hand side of the screen there. Notably, the chambers, some of our utility partners, the workforce entities, and also the various municipal development corporations throughout the region. So for instance, we're envisioning Jim Nardozzi from Waterbury representing the Waterbury Development Corp. Mayor Pernersky may or may not want to have someone else from Waterbury represented. So for those of you that are here today, I'd ask that you meet with me before you leave, just to confirm that who I already have on file is who you'd like. And if there's somebody additional or different, please let me know so I can start to make that outreach. We'll be attempting to meet with that strategic advisory board later in July. The motion that we're asking for you today is to authorize the formation of that strategic advisory board, and then we'll follow up with how that's going to be.
All right, I'll entertain the motion.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Chairman, yes, so there will be a little give and take in negotiation once we get all the names. We have to comply with 13 CFR.
13 CFR through the federal
Which
guidance.
dictates the makeup of these economic development district boards. It can't just be this board, which is why we're going through a process. It has to be representative of your business communities, manufacturers, employment people, things like that. So there may be some give and take there. We do plan to do something a little different than we've been doing for the last 20 years. And I've been on the steering committee for 20 years for this. I've Drew's been doing a lot of research. I've been looking nationally at other models. I've found communities of 10,000 people who manage $97 million in revolving loan funds for economic development. There's lots of different ways to go about this on a regional basis rather than just a project by project basis. You still do those. But we wanna make it a real tool for every town, make them useful. Once or twice a year meetings of the big group, and then really intensive meetings of the steering committee or whatever becomes the executive committee of this entity. But we can do a lot with it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we will proceed to item 11.
Nope, I'm gonna vote. Gotta vote.
All
Aye.
those, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Roundtable, is there any town that would like to bring up any issue? Hearing none, we'll go to item 12.
Hang on,
Thomaston?
just one thing.
Yep.
So the meetings for the upcoming 2 months, we're scheduled for a July meeting. We have no meeting scheduled in August. Our intention is we're canceling the July meeting. If there should be, for some reason, a need to act on MPO business, it'll be a remote meeting. It'll be about 10 minutes long just to do a tip amendment or two. We don't expect it. Rich assures me that he's worked with Condot to clear the decks until September so that we won't have to meet. So subcommittees, committees will continue to meet. And I would ask you all to let staff know if you're going to be attending the July 11th. I think the RWA, the Waste Committee meeting is July 11th.
Yes.
So if we're not going to have attendance, I know it's the week after the holiday, so.
I won't be here.
Yeah.
I'll be away, yeah.
So,
No, it's not wrong.
just let us know, but other than that, we won't
discuss it.
we won't see everyone else in this setting until September.
Summer vacation.
Let's hope so. Mine starts after this meeting.
All right.
Starts in the middle of November.
Can we go to item 12?
You can do whatever.
Mayor,
you
can I
want.
just,
You're not?
Mr. Chair, ask a question?
Sure.
Do we have any update on the DOT, whoever it actually is, upgrades to train stations, Seymour, Beacon Falls?
Absolutely. Rich, you wanna give them the up to date on the ADA updates for the stations and with a focus on Seymour and Beacon Falls?
Yes, yeah, so all 6 stations are advancing. Naugatuck and Derby, Shelton are being done as separate projects, but the 4 remaining stations, there is a 90% design plan set that is currently being reviewed and finalized to get to that 100% completion of design. The department intends to go out and bring on a construction manager for that project in the next several months, with early construction work beginning in the spring of next year.
I understand.
And that's upgrade of the 2 existing stations in Seymour and Beacon Falls.
Correct.
Correct, yes.
All right, thank you. Thanks for that.
And I hear there's gonna be big news next month on the Naugatuck.
Naugatuck commences construction July 3rd.
Congratulations.
Brand new station.
Beautiful. We worked on hard for this one for years.
Yes, long ride.
Yeah, well, they usually are.
And I will say, working with DOT on this project has been a pleasure. They're doing fantastic.
Put yourself in for a raise.
And just to echo that sentiment, the same has been true on the other 5 stations along the line. The department has been very responsive to municipal comments, to our comments, and they truly understand the importance of these stations being not just train stations, but important places in your communities.
Motion to adjourn.
Good if you want one.
We have a motion to adjourn.
I don't know if can be done.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Happy summer.
Happy summer.
We got my.
You're